It took him a while to get to Barcelona after many years of a rumored move, but once he got there, Neymar played some of the best football of his life. Then, when the opportunity eventually came for Neymar to embark upon his own journey to become the best player in the world, and make a pretty penny in doing so, he took it, leaving behind Barcelona for PSG. But things have soured in Paris, and now he wants to leave PSG, and PSG want him out. What's up, I'm Adrian, and today we're going to look at why Neymar left Barcelona, where things went wrong with PSG, and whether there's truth to reports that he's on his way out of the French capital. By the way, I have an in-depth player bio on Neymar, everything from his early childhood to his youth career to his glory days at Barcelona, and everything in between. I'll link to that in the comments, alright? Shameless self-promotion, done. Let's go. At the beginning of August 2017, after a good few weeks of speculation, it was revealed that Neymar would be leaving Barcelona to join PSG on a massive 5-year deal that would not only bring with it a ridiculous boon to his bank accounts, but would give him the opportunity he had craved for a while, to be the main man at a title-winning team, to get out of the unavoidable shadow that Messi cast over Barcelona, and to cast his own. Paris, most notably PSG, provided that opportunity. His ambitions, of course, matched up with PSG, as they saw his signing as the biggest sign of intent they had shown yet, in order to win the Champions League and establish themselves as a genuine European superpower. Domestic titles have come easily to PSG in recent years, having won 6 of the last 7 Ligue 1 titles as of 2019, with their ownership group, Qatar Sports Investments, craving a Champions League title just as much as Neymar had been craving to stand alone as the main man at a club. Note the wording there, at a club, as it seems like it doesn't really matter which club to Neymar. As pointed out by Sid Lowe in an article from August of 2017, perhaps what epitomized the gigantic shadow that Messi casts was Barcelona's historic remontada against Neymar's future team, PSG, from March of 2017. As Lowe notes, while Neymar was the one who should have been celebrated for his heroics in contributing to the historic comeback, the lasting image from that match was of Lionel Messi surrounded by Barcelona fans as he stood on the ad boards triumphantly. When Neymar was celebrated, it often wasn't solely about him as he had craved, but about the MSN trio that he was a part of, alongside Messi and Suarez. Second fiddle to Messi, and seen as part of a trio instead of the Barcelona player. This, despite Neymar filling in and performing well for an injured Messi on quite a few occasions. If he was to go to PSG, he would be the star of the show, and in his mind, would put himself in good position to eventually overcome Messi and Ronaldo as the best player in the world, so long as PSG's experiment went as intended. As the rumors grew and Neymar didn't state he wanted to stay with Barcelona, Messi, Suarez, and famously Gerard Piqué tried to convince Neymar to reconsider. Remember the se queda memes? But despite their efforts, on August 3rd, 2017, it was announced that PSG would trigger his €222 million buyout clause through Neymar himself, making him by far the most expensive player of all time. That same summer, Kylian Mbappe arrived from AS Monaco, and thus Neymar fell into another talented attacking trio alongside the young Frenchman and Edinson Cavani. At least this time, Neymar was undoubtedly the most talented of the three, but Cavani still had the love of the PSG faithful for his many years of service and devotion to the club, while Mbappe, being a Paris native and the hottest young attacking talent out of the country and in world football, he instantly gained the admiration of the Paris faithful as well. While Neymar was loved by PSG fans in his own right, the concerning reports about his attitude in training, such as not taking sessions seriously under Unai Emery, receiving special treatment from the staff that isn't afforded to other players, etc., and on the pitch, there was a clear divide between himself and Edinson Cavani, as Neymar famously wrestled the ball away from Cavani for free kicks and penalties on a few occasions, with Dani Alves even helping Neymar to do so on one notable occasion as well. I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise that he was acting this way and prioritizing himself over his teammates, as that was clearly his intent when moving to PSG. There was a feeling that Neymar didn't hold a ton of respect for the domestic competition, despite helping PSG to a domestic treble in his first season. Well, until about February, that is, as he went out injured with a metatarsal injury, one that would come up later as well. So upon getting injured, he was left with a choice. There was a temporary solution, which would have allowed him to return to his club for the rest of the season, at least in theory, or the option of a surgery which would rule him out for the rest of the season, but would have him return in time for the 2018 World Cup. Neymar chose the latter, and his first season at PSG would end in February after helping the club with 28 goals from 30 appearances. After a 2018 World Cup where Neymar played quite well most of the time, but was undoubtedly more known for how often he would be seen rolling on the ground. I mean, it even prompted the Neymar challenge worldwide. From that World Cup, Neymar returned to PSG alongside his World Cup champion teammate Kylian Mbappe, ready for another shot at the Champions League under Thomas Tuchel, who told Neymar that he wanted him to get the ball close to goal and allow him to do his thing on the pitch. He started the season well, going goal for goal with Mbappe, who was emerging as PSG's talismanic player, which of course would draw some ire from Neymar, I'm sure. Neymar was crucial in the development of Mbappe, as Marquinhos would say to the media. The Brazilian defender said, quote, "Neymar knows how important he is for Kylian, as Messi was important for him, and Ronaldinho was important for Messi." End quote. But as Adam White noted for The Guardian, Guardiola famously allowed Ronaldinho to leave so that Messi wouldn't pick up on some of his less desirable traits, such as his love for the Barcelona nightlife. So that leads to some fearing that Neymar's penchant for rolling on the floor, antagonizing opponents to draw in tackles and win fouls, and showing a lack of professionalism to opposing fans would rub off on a certain someone. These reasons led to the beginning of a rift between Neymar and the PSG backroom and administration. When he arrived at PSG, he was afforded leniency and special privileges, but the more that time went on, the more that Neymar prioritized himself and his interests above the club, the more that PSG chairman Nasser Al-Khelaifi grew frustrated with Neymar's attitude. So after 2 seasons, we've seen Neymar miss considerable stretches through injury, which was frustrating for PSG from a sporting point of view because their massive investment didn't get them any closer to their goal of winning the Champions League. Instead, their investment has caused problems in the dressing room at times, lacked discipline. I mean, he's been handed match bans in both France and the Champions League. Now, Neymar's frustrations have become apparent as well, as he has made no steps forward in his career since joining PSG. He's by no means elevated his status above what it was at Barcelona, and finds himself now unwanted at the very club that was supposed to serve as a pedestal to him to stand above the rest of football. Wait a minute. Unwanted at PSG? Come on. Well, yeah. It's true, actually, as Al-Khelaifi had some strong words for his players on June 16th, 2019, when speaking to France Football. Quote, "The players are going to have to assume their responsibilities even more than before. It has to be completely different. They will have to do more, work more. They're not here to have fun. And if they don't agree with this point of view, the doors are open. Ciao. I no longer want to have superstar behavior." Superstar behavior. You can't help but think that this could be directed at Neymar in particular, the guy who is constantly at parties. I mean, on the night of Mbappe receiving the Player of the Year award for the Ligue 1 season, Neymar was at Rihanna's party in Paris, etc. There's other examples. Basically, the common feeling of Neymar focusing more on elevating his status and brand seems to extend from the pitch to the professional world to his life outside of that as well. So the table was set for Neymar to leave PSG so soon after arriving. I mean, there were rumors of him moving to PSG simply as a stepping stone to return to Spain via Real Madrid, but those stories have cooled off a lot, with Neymar allegedly wanting a return to Barcelona. In mid-June of 2019, with Neymar out with another injury, reports began to ring out saying that Neymar had told PSG that he wants to leave the club to go back to Barcelona. According to Mundo Deportivo, a paper from Barcelona that honestly can't always be trusted, Neymar said, quote, "I want to go home where I should have never left." So a not so trustworthy paper, yes, but later, Barcelona's president Josep Bartomeu confirmed that Neymar wants to leave PSG during Frenkie de Jong's unveiling. Going even further than this, when PSG's new sporting director Leonardo spoke to the media about Neymar, he all but confirmed this, though he didn't mention that Neymar wanted to go to Barcelona specifically. Quote, "It's clear to everyone, but in football you say one thing today and one tomorrow. It's amazing, but it's like that. Yes, I have spoken to Neymar. I do not want to tell all the details of the conversation. We talked with his entourage too. Everyone knows everything. The position is clear for all participants. Neymar can leave PSG if there is an offer that suits everyone. But to date, we don't know if anyone wants to buy him or at what price. All this is not done in a day, that's for sure. PSG wants to rely on players who want to stay and build something big. We do not need players who would do a favor at the club by staying here." End quote. Well, that's some nice honesty from Leonardo there, confirming that Neymar can leave for the right price, which is not exactly a hands-off to potential suitors, but a welcome mat for them. And what he said about players wanting to stay and build something big, he's basically speaking about the opposite kind of signing that Neymar was for PSG. He went to PSG for money and an elevation of his status, both off the pitch and on it, not for the good of PSG. Mind you, what players move for the love of a club these days? Another recent example of his disinterest in complying with his own club, Neymar ignored the club's request for him to return to preseason training on July 8th, 2019, with his father saying that he couldn't return until July 15th due to his commitments to the Neymar Institute back in Brazil. Admittedly, it's difficult to criticize someone for the charity work they're doing, but unfortunately, when you're employed by a club that pays you more than 99% of what other players make in the sport, if they tell you to show up at a certain time, then you have to show up at that time. Now, apparently it was agreed that he would return to PSG on the 15th since he would be competing in the Copa America tournament, but since he was out injured for the entirety of the tournament, he was then requested to return on the 8th. He didn't, and that's why PSG made the statement deploring his actions. So, this is where Neymar finds himself now. After leaving to embark upon what he thought was his opportunity to establish himself as the biggest name in football, his 2 seasons away from Barcelona have provided many goals, but many moments of discipline issues, disrespecting teammates and opponents in Ligue 1, lengthy injuries, and falling out with the fans and higher-ups at PSG. And Neymar is still one of the best players in the world, in spite of his attitude problems. As mentioned, his move to PSG was supposed to elevate him to another level, but it seemingly has been nothing but a distraction in his career. An injury-plagued distraction that almost moved his focus away from football, in a sense, and now has led him to be unwanted at his current club and craving a move back to where he was in his prime, back to Barcelona. That's all I've got on this matter. It remains to be seen what happens with Neymar, as certainly only a few clubs such as Real Madrid, United, City, or Barcelona could legitimately afford him, but only Barcelona seem to be genuinely interested, but we'll have to see. Whether he moves or not, though, will be a tricky puzzle to figure out for Barcelona, who are allegedly close to bringing in Griezmann. So if they want to bring Neymar back home, as he said, then some personnel offloading and financial gymnastics will definitely be on hand. So it's exciting times. There's always some sort of drama or excitement involved when Neymar is around, so I'm thankful for him for that. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to drop a like. And if you don't want to miss a video from us here at Rabona TV, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I'm Adrian. I love ya. See you soon.